want to be superficial.
Too late.
But Gavin Newsom brings me back to really handsome presidents. Like JFK and Obama. And wouldn't it be nice to have an articulate, gorgeous president like that again? Just saying.
Well, I'm actually starting to think that maybe some women shouldn't vote.
It's really interesting because you and I have talked about young men getting dragged into this right-wing space.
Yeah.
And reading the book, it sort of feels like it could have happened to you, but it didn't.
Yeah.
I'm interested in your thoughts on why it didn't, but also like what's going on with young men right now.
Well, I can tell you what's happening with young men right now. I think they want to be young men. And they're certainly not watching The View.
But I also didn't have the gift of an algorithm that was chasing me. It's chasing so many young men and boys. And, you know, I've got 2 young boys, and I'll never forget when I did my podcast, and one of my first guests was Charlie Kirk, and my son heard about it, and he said, Dad, I don't want to go to school tomorrow. I want to meet Charlie Kirk. I'm like, how do you know who he is? You know,
in the sense where, at least for the sense that he can dialogue with someone on the other side, bring them in, at least present himself as a moderate. And he knows that he has to then eventually run for president in 2028 as the governor of California. There's no record to run on there. I mean, what are you going to run on? The lackluster response on fires, the highest cost of living in the country, the second highest home prices, the most homeless, one of the highest tax rates, the greatest wealth inequality in the country. So he's trying to reinvent himself. My encouragement to the American people is do not let him, and understand there's a lot of talent there and willingness for him to run to the middle. However, based on the response, I don't think the base of the Democrat Party is going to tolerate any sort of moderation on these issues. We see a doubling or tripling down on the insanity of the modern Democrat Party.
All right, Charlie Kirk.
But also, like, what's going on with young men right now?
it was Charlie Kirk, and
Well, they're obviously not watching the David Pakman show either.
And he didn't have a device. It was his school device. It was YouTube, it was the Chromebook. And all these algorithms chasing all of these, all his brothers, everyone in his cohort. And today it's all about prediction markets. He's trying to bet right now. I'm like, brother, you barely turned 14. And you're talking about betting. And he's like, and now he's making bets on predictions and things. So it's a thing. But beyond that, I think it's also a thing because the toxicity that you can find, it's not everyone finds it, but so much of it sort of then becomes derivative, where there's now a commercial for, Hustlers University, $25 and you can be a man.
Oh, I guess it's the fault of the algorithm that young men are becoming conservative. Well, let's see what we can find out about Gavin Newsom's wife, the potential first lady.
Newsom's wife found a way to fight the patriarchy and make it incredibly lucrative. Governor Gavin Newsom's wife is facing scrutiny after IRS filings revealed that she has received more than $3.7 million over the past decade from her nonprofit, the Representation Project, through both a salary and payments to her company, Girls Club LLC. Girls Club LLC sounds like something a 12-year-old starts in her backyard, except this one has a 7-figure revenue stream and a very understanding IRS auditor. The Representation Project says that its mission is to fight limiting gender stereotypes through films and educational programs.
Well, while Mr. Newsom is looking pretty, what's he actually doing in the state of California?
Fox investigation has exposed how criminals in Los Angeles are accused of targeting hospice funds meant for vulnerable seniors, with nearly 2,000 hospice providers in LA County alone. Critics say the system is being exploited on a staggering scale, and taxpayers, you're footing the bill for all of it. We did reach out to Gavin Newsom's office for comment on the recent allegations. They referred us to these posts on X, seemingly making a joke out of the whole situation, writing, quote, Wow, Nick Shirley finds potential fraud in Donald Trump's federal Medicare system. Gavin Newsom imposed a moratorium on new hospice licenses beginning in 2021. Gavin, maybe you should take these very real claims of fraud in your state. I know you're busy stalking Trump, podcaster, poster, author, world traveler, podcaster. Maybe you should get back to work here with more. Independent journalist Nick Shirley. Okay, you said that what you discovered, the 40 minutes of fraud in Minnesota, that was big, and it was big. But this is much bigger. Tell us what you found.
Yeah, well, California is a lot bigger state than Minnesota, obviously, and they receive more money, and they also tax their people more than any other state in America, yet they allow more fraud to take place than any other state. For home health care goes to the LA area. These fraudsters are driving around not just $100,000 cars, but literally $200,000 Maybachs, and they're just defrauding the American taxpayer like no other place I've ever seen. And they have no remorse for it. They drive around all these nice cars, wear designer clothing, you name it, and they're inside of these old motel-looking like businesses, defrauding the taxpayer of quite literally millions and billions of dollars.
Now, Newsom's office tried to mock you. They posted a photo of a man carrying several cameras at a daycare center, and you're investigating whether or not there's fraud in daycare centers and hospice. And then they said asking a teacher, hey, can I see your kids? You did not hold back in your response. I'll let you paraphrase your response. What did you say to Gavin?
Yeah, I don't know why they're trying to make me and paint me out to look like a legit pedophile. That's what they're trying to do. And what they're trying to do is then create a small group of their base to then hate Nick Shirley, which then justifies them to go and attack Nick Shirley and do something to Nick Shirley. When in reality, I'm working for both Republicans and Democrats, just exposing the fraud. I'm working on behalf of all American taxpayers because I'm sick of seeing this fraud in every single location that I go to.
Well, all I can say after all that is that when you go to vote with your brain, not your ha-hoo.
But Gavin Newsom brings me back to really handsome presidents like JFK and Obama.